Dude, I can't. God damn it. Cut this part out. Okay. I just read it today. What the fuck?
Okay, what are some of your topics?
Well, I just did. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? Freestyling it? Nope. Okay. So
wait, one more.
Sure.
So when is the San Diego Con?
It's happening this weekend.
This weekend or next weekend?
It's literally happening right now.
Like
Right now?
Yeah.
I thought it was the 27th.
That's why Brave New World released the trailer, because they were doing that.
So is it a whole week?
It's the better part of a week, because they start releasing shit like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Past week?
The week that we just had, yes. They've already been having announcements and stuff. SDCC isn't as big of a comic book show as it used to be, so there's not as much stuff that we're hearing about.
Yeah.
But a lot of these toy announcements or stuff are coming from there. I think that the show actually opened. I think the floor opens on Thursday, if I remember correctly.
This coming Thursday.
No, the Thursday.
It
is
says
already
the
passed.
25th through the 28th.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
is it?
Yeah.
I thought that was this weekend.
No.
Oh, my bad. Okay, you're right then.
Because you're talking about, I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
So that's weird, because they're still already talking about SDCC stuff this week. That's why I assumed that it was already happening.
No,
Okay.
when you were talking about it, I was like, but usually when it's out, dude, like Twitter or YouTube is just jammed with all kinds of fucked up trailers from like all these different movies. Because like they've slowly been leaking like the new Hellboy one that looks like garbage. And
Oh my God.
dude, it looks like a fucking student film, dude. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Mignola is destroying this fucking series. He's actively trying to destroy Hellboy. I think he hates it.
I mean, it's possible.
I think
Put
it's
the
one of
trail.
those.
I never watched it. I just saw the memes about.
Oh no! Play the
Go
trailer.
ahead and
dude.
put it on, Matt.
Please play the trailer.
I think that that's a good trailer for a bad movie.
But tell me-
but I think they cut that in such a way to make it look as good as possible. But I've seen people talk about how they thought it was shot on an iPhone, and I wouldn't be surprised.
But tell me, does it? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It feels like he actively hates his character.
If you're either that, or is it such an abiding love that he'll take anything over nothing?
Maybe.
And after the last one bombed out the way that it did,
Oh, it beyond bomb, dude.
Yeah.
That was fucking careers ended because of that fucking film, and it's a horrific movie.
Okay.
Looks great, looks fantastic. I think I don't know why he won't let Del Toro just fucking finish his
well,
trilogy.
because Del Toro will never fucking do it, because he will always have something else to do. He waited fucking 15 years for Del Toro to do another one. Come on, how long are you supposed to wait? Del Toro will talk about doing shit forever and never fucking do it.
apparently Ron Perlman said, "Hey, dude, I'm ready to do it now," and Del Toro was like, "Let's do it now," but Pete Davidson fucked his ex. Was it Pete Davidson banging his ex?
I thought he banged everybody's ex.
Did Mike Mignola actually direct the thing himself?
Maybe, dude. You think he pulled a Todd? He's like, you can't make the movie unless
Or
I
Frank
direct it and
Miller?
write it. True.
Now, think about this, though. If he'd have done that, like literally done like a Sin City where he did that super high contrast and made it look like a Mike Mignola drawing on film, that would have been cool. This ain't that, though.
No. It looks like a student
This
film.
looks like some fucking Asylum shit here.
It just looked like fucking a student film to me. Like,
Yeah.
that Hellboy does not look like
well,
Hellboy.
You mentioned the whole Todd McFarlane thing. Remember how they had that fan film? There was like a Spawn fan film about 10 years back.
Where he's like in a grocery store or something?
Yeah, that's what that looks like. Like, that looks like something that'd be good if you were just doing it for YouTube. But if you're like putting that into a movie theater, oh my fucking God. And also, Ketchup Entertainment? What the fuck
Dude,
kind of company
I
is
shit you not. When I
Ketchup
first saw that, I thought it was straight to video.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's a straight to video. Oh, okay, I get that. And then they're like, no, they're going to release it in theaters.
Well, they're planning to release it in theaters. That means like it's going to actually happen.
I just don't see like the crowds going to that.
No. I spent more time looking at that chick's ass against the silhouette of that chick's ass than I did the rest of the movie trailer. I had no idea that was supposed to be Hellboy's voice at the beginning, because that actor has zero presence.
Yes.
And can in no way convey
No.
that character by voice.
Even the last Hellboy, what's the name of the actor?
David Harbour?
He looked good.
Yeah.
He looked like
and he
weird.
sounds like David Harbour. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, well, this is a person I know from
like
things.
Ron Perlman and David Harbour.
I know those voices.
Yeah, I know those
guys
voices.
are.
It carries the character. This, I think, there was a time. I'd have to confirm with Fryhole, but there was a time where Hellboy had this really weird, like anorexic looking body shape, where he wasn't like big and beefy.
Yeah.
I think that's what Mignola's like. Oh, that's the Hellboy I want to do.
Yeah.
But that looked like it felt to me like fucking Blair Witch. Like the first one was like, oh, let's go out in the woods and put red paint on Frank, and we're gonna film a movie with country folk, and it's gonna be a horror movie. I just don't. And I hope I'm wrong, and like it turns out to be like a really cool horror story. I just don't feel that that though. It doesn't have
The
that
CGI
vibe.
snake doesn't help.
Yeah, no. And you're right. It does look like it was shot on a fucking iPhone.
Yeah.
It looked like that and a
hope- I
drone.
hope-
That and a drone. iPhone put on a drone is flying around.
I think I remember that they have a different person directing this, but I hope Mike Mignola directed himself because at least that would explain it.
You think
At
so?
least I'd understand if a guy who'd never directed a movie before directed this, as creator of the character, I could excuse a little bit of that.
Well, I mean,
If a person who actually has a profession as a director is a person who did that guy's in the wrong profession, I think, or lacked the resources.
but yeah, that's kind of disappointing. Because like I said, usually the build up to San Diego Con is usually when the trailers start slowly dropping because they're like, hey, get ready, it's coming. So that's why you were saying it was this week, and I'm like,
I could have, like I said, I keep seeing news stories on the beat and Bleeding Cool about SDCC, so I'm thinking it's coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking that it's a week and a half away
Yeah.
from when they started this shit.
Because I remember they were saying like Marvel's going to be there with Studio or Hall H, and
Trying to bring Hall H back if it got killed before COVID.
yeah, because usually right around the con, that's where everybody's just dropping trailers like crazy.
Well, they used to, but then Marvel especially backed off. But now they're kind of like hat in hand needing hype again. And they got fucking cocky and they thought their shit would never start to stink. And well, we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
Always get those big
wonder-
fucking heads, man. These guys never think they're going to come back down again.
I wonder if fucking any of the new DC shit will pop up there or any teasers.
Yeah, they're supposed to do some that had like a Creature Commandos thing. They already dropped a little bit of Creature Commando stuff out there.
Oh, really?
There's like a new image and some other odds and sods stuff.
But none of the new Superman stuff.
Not yet. I wouldn't be surprised though. But I don't know if they've actually committed to any footage yet.
Well, because I know they've been filming for.
They've
a
been
while.
filming for a little while though. Yeah. It's so funny because all those people got super pissed off about the costumes, and it's like, are you looking at the pictures? They're all working for Maxwell Lord, so they're in their Maxwell Lord branded outfits. That's why they look like shit. Now, I don't understand why the Superman costume looks like shit, but everybody else's costume, I understand why that
Mr.
costume looks like
Terrific,
shit. Huh?
Mr. Terrific, or what's his name?
No, he actually looks good. For whatever reason, he still has Max Lord branding, but for the most part, it's the comic book accurate suit for him. But like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl, they're in shitty Maxwell Lord uniforms, not in their proper
What
costumes.
is it, Mephisto? What's his name?
Metamorpho?
Metamorpho. He's supposed to be, right?
We haven't seen him yet, though.
Yeah, I know. Well,
We've
they
seen
show
the
the
actor,
actor, but
yeah,
not the
who
actual
ordered, because he's got no hair, he kind of looks like Metamorpho. That's why they cast him.
Yeah.
So you can picture it very easily in your mind, but we haven't actually seen him on set or anything.
I just.
But again,
That's
reason
going to be
why-
the first one that drops, right, for the new DC.
Yeah,
universe?
that's the new DC universe. And what's nice too is, of course, we can see these pictures because they're filming outside. They're not in the depth or whatever the fuck shit. It's not all a bunch of fucking green screen. So that's nice. They're gonna actually be in real environments doing stuff.
We'll see, man. Like I said, it's
Well, I think the Superman suit looks like shit, but I still think it's gonna be a good flick. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
we'll see. They have my interest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested. I just don't know. Like, do I really give a shit about Mr. I'm not a DC guy, so I mean,
Yeah, but the thing of it is, it's kind of an introduction to the greater DC universe. I mean, the Authority are going to be in the fucking thing. So,
That's true.
that'll turn you around pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah,
And we
maybe.
still have no idea what the story is going to be. We
thought
just
it
know
was
that it
based off
involves
of
Max
something.
Lord and pay-for-play superheroes and shit like that. So I think there's going to be a whole bunch of interesting stuff happening in this movie.
When's it coming out?
Next year, I think.
Oh wow, already?
I think so. I think it's next summer. I think.
So was that your favorite toy line back in the day, the Superpowers or the Secret Wars?
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, G.I. Joe. Yeah, no, I was definitely a G.I. Joe kid. After G.I. Joe, I would say Master of the Universe and related like scale. And then the superheroes were like third at best. Because as much as I love comic book, I'm not a huge fan of comic book action figures. Especially because as a kid, I so liked my G.I. Joes. And it was so much cooler to do dark anti-heroic superhero type stuff with the G.I. Joes than to have these brightly colored, big, gaudy superheroes in the mix.
Yep.
A few of them managed to cross over and kind of play in the G.I. Joe waters, but I always favored the Joes, to be honest. My favorite,
Yep, me too.
and my favorite was Zart. Zartan was like my ultimate badass anti-hero.
I mean, you are like the same person. That changing color face.
Oh yeah, well the whole body because you had to leave him out in the sun, and he would get the dark tan and chameleon shading and stuff.
I had him the first time. I did a trade with a kid, and I had him, and there was some other stuff in the trade, but his mom jinxed it. And she brought him over like 2 days later and made us trade back.
Aw.
And so then I ended up getting him later on through, I'm sure, another trade. But yeah, man, he used to be, my mom would find him all over the house, crouched in little corners and
Now, the one thing with mine though is I ripped off the hood. I was playing with it and it came loose and eventually I lost it. So I always pretended like he had a mohawk.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, I think I kept everything. That little sled he came with, that thing fell apart almost immediately, and that thing was gone.
Sled? Oh yeah, that was like a swamp lighter.
Swamp ear or
Something
something
like
like
that,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that thing was garbage.
Well, the funny thing is when you said it, I realized you said sled, but at first I thought you said the little slut, and so I was like, oh, I had Zarana too. Yeah, and what happened is it's so pathetic. I'm such an idiot. So I was actually a relative of mine's figure, you know, and we were living in Nevada, and we were kind of associating with him that much, but they weren't people I like grew up with or anything. And so he loaned the figure to me because I always wanted girl figures. You could never get the girl figures. I always wanted more girls, and he didn't really care. And like an idiot, I decided to. I thought that she could color change. We didn't have power at the house, so I thought that I could make her color change by candlelight, and I caught her hair on fire. And after that, I didn't want her anymore. So I swear I didn't do it on purpose, but that's how I ended up getting a Zarana figure. Was I lit her on fire thinking that it would color change by the heat of a candle. The other thing is I remember I used to have her dance to Samantha Fox's Naughty Girls Need Love Too. So I was associated with Samantha Fox, and it come to find out years later she had pink hair in that video. I always thought it was very strange. They worked out that way.
Nice. I was back when I was into Joe's, and I had some. I think at the time, I had some superpowers too. I had a kid I played with in the neighborhood, and his parents, dude, spoiled him rotten. I mean, they bought him everything. He had the what was that G.I. Joe hovercraft, that big green one.
Ooh,
and,
yeah, I know the one.
I mean, his parents would buy him everything. Every time I went over there, he had a dozen new G.I. Joe toys, and he loved to wreck them. And all my stuff is like pretty. I mean, yeah, you get the common, G.I. Joe crotch break or the thumb break, but otherwise my stuff was in played with but good condition. And the first time I was over and we were playing, I was like totally like zoned into playing with the hovercraft, and he just walks up and stomps on it. And the whole thing like blew apart. The top was all busted, and I'm like, why would you do that? And he's like, dude, it's battle damage now. And I actually got grounded from playing with him for a couple months because, not that I needed to be talked into it, but we were burning G.I. Joes and I think some He-Man figures with WD-40 in my garage.
Mm-hmm. We all went through that phase.
Yeah. And when we were done, we just kicked them under my dad's tool bench, and my dad's like really anal as far as his stuff, and he walked out and found all of it and found out we were playing with fire, and perhaps that was the start of my customizing days.
Yeah, I've still got a bucket full of customs along those lines, yeah.
So this is the hottest thing right now? This is actually really good.
Yeah.
This mini comic is brilliant, the way they linked all of it. That's
Well, you read his Boy Rival stuff too, didn't you?
No, not yet. I told you, I read...
You just start with Boy Rivals. You have to start with Boy Rivals, and then you move on to the other stuff.
Well, no, this is kind of like a little mini special to give you a taste.
Starts with Boy Rivals because everybody freaked out when they didn't announce it was going to be tied into Transformers. When you're reading Boy Rivals and all of a sudden the Transformers shit starts popping up at the end of the first issue, people are like, oh my god, Transformers!
It's called Boy Rivals?
Boy Rivals, written by Kirkman. Yeah, the Energon, was that a pre-comic day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a year in or some shit, so that's not where you start.
Yeah.
It starts in Void Rivals, and then I think it goes into Duke and Cobra Commander, and then the regular Transformer series that William Philip Johnson was doing. And then now it's moving into like Scarlet and Destro. And they're going to start the new G.I. Joe series that's tied into the Energon universe later this year, if I remember correctly. And they've got the other G.I. Joe, the Harry Hama one, continuing the Marvel continuity, but that's not part of the Energon stuff. They got good people doing it. Paul Pelletier's doing it concurrently, so like, Jesus, G.I. Joe hasn't looked this good in a long time. Yeah, so that means that it's been a year, less than a year that that's been doing what it's been doing.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing this. Someone gave me like a random issue of it. They told me to read it. I'm like, I think it's like issue 4. I'm like, I need the other 3. I just tossed it aside and never looked at it again. Okay, we're going to have to read this. And it looks good so far. What I've read so far, wow, it's really, like, holy shit, it's actually kind of cool.
It's kind of like, it's on wild 6-figure sales.
Mm-hmm.
For them to do that, that's miraculous almost. So yeah, everybody's talking about that shit now.
Because now Hasbro just dropped the bomb that the next Transformer movie will be Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah, because the Kirkman stuff is, I think, showing them the way. So probably they're going to lean heavily into what they're doing over at Skybound, because they've tried this shit before. You remember they did this same shit at IDW? Mm-hmm. And they were trying to do the whole Hasbro universe at IDW, and it didn't work. You know, people didn't respond to it. It didn't sell it.
There was a writer.
They had Rom, they had Micronauts, they had Visionary.
There was this writer who he submitted a story arc, and he was linking all these toys like Inhumans and shit like that. He was linking them all together. And Yeah, in humanoids.
Okay.
In humanoids, it was like 4 or 5 toy brands, and he linked them. They were all the same, and they were like, "No, we want to go in a different direction." So he just kind of like, "Well, this is the story." It was fucking great. People were like, "Dude, if you had written this, like, this would have revived." They went with some other bullshit, like they mixed them with the Ghostbusters and shit like that. Like, it was really goofy. But this one, it was basically a horror comic. Like, I guess what turned them off is you couldn't really sell toys to kids based on this. Yeah, from
Yeah, humanoids, because I don't know.
But dude, if you remember, it was fucking dark.
Yeah.
Dude, you had a creature, it was decay.
Yeah.
Decayed people. Like,
Yeah, did you ever watch the Secret Galaxy video on humanoids?
I probably did.
Yeah. Well,
Just so you know, I turned everybody on to him first.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'd watched it before you. I hadn't watched enough to really.
Oh no, I literally saw like his 3rd show he ever did,
Yeah.
and I turned on to
Well, it was back when it was still
Toy Galaxy. Yeah, it was Toy Galaxy, but they were kind of like us, like just goofing off.
Mm-hmm.
There was no like he talked about toys, but he was talking about like toys because he was an army brat and the toys he played with in Japan when his dad was stationed. So I was like, oh, I just liked him because I was like, man, his personality was just kind of cool. Like it's kind of fun.
He's one of the best vloggers, probably the best vlogger. Yeah, like you said, he's got a good personality.
Oh yeah.
He's not up his own asshole.
Fuck no, dude. He just created his own little. Oh, sorry, dude. He just created his own little mini con, like just to kind of hang out with people to see if any. Dude, like they flooded the fucking comic book store where he's like, oh shit, like this. I didn't think this was supposed to. Like he said it himself. I thought maybe 20 people at best show up. Had like 200 people waiting in the parking lot to get into a building that already had people, and it was supposed to be like trade GI Joe, like trade stuff, and it was like a huge success. So now him and Pixel Dan are kind of traveling as a group, and they did a convention recently, and some artist had passed away, and the artist, he was doing poorly, and so he sells these Galaxy pins, usually for $10. He's like, all my pins are $20, and he goes, and every penny goes to the art. And he sold out in like 15 minutes. People just went up there and bought everything he had, and he donated all to art. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah, he's like people.
Oh, and I love the fact that him and his buddy, so the producer or the cameraman, they did it. If you watch it,
He's not cameraman.
Oh, he does that. He does everything. But it was like a goof. It was them just goofing around because I think it was right around COVID almost. Oh no, pre-COVID.
It's pre-COVID.
Yeah, they were just goofing around. He has nothing to do with comics. He's into records and shit. But so Toy Galaxy would do so that they would talk about a toy that just came out, and then people would send him shit, and he would talk about it. He was pissed. He's like, who would give him these cool? Dude, people were sending him like fucking these Akira toys from Japan. They're like $300-400 a toy, and they're sending it to him because they're just like, oh, I just want you to talk about it. Like, and he had to think about see-through toys like blue plastic or translucent. He had a fucking heart. People were just sending that shit to him like crazy. I remember I watched all that, and then Toy Galaxy turned into, what is it now? Secret Galaxy. And
really, their main interest was in the 80s storyline.
Yeah.
And they exhausted them all. They ran out of toy lines to talk about. They wanted to talk about, and they wanted to talk about other shit. So that's why they had to expand their focus.
Well, I think also with Toy Galaxy, Toy kind of put you in a niche where people are like, Toy, I don't want to watch it. But Secret Galaxy was like, okay, well, what is it?
Well, and the thing is too is they always get into the media anyway, so it's really more restrictive because there's always the action figures and the cartoons they made about the action figures, and there's always more of it, so it just expanded to where we just talk about this cartoon, we just talk about this TV show. So yeah.
I mean, he did a fucking.
That's the only YouTube channel I've actually thought about doing the paying for it, especially at $1 a month.
Yeah.
Just because I get sick of the fucking ads, and I would like to see some of the ones that fan like. I don't care about the Juicy Fruit one, but I would be curious about the Youngblood one, for instance.
All right. Oh, and they do really good deep dives. Like he did a Robotech one, a 4-parter. That's fucking fascinating. I watched it like 3 times. It's just fascinating because he had to go back.
Robotech?
Yeah.
I
know.
They've got the expanded.
The original 4. The original 4. The next 2 are. Well, not just that, but they had to update a bunch of stuff that he found out.
They continue to do
it. Yeah. So
and then they do the one where they combine them all.
The one that all of them are pretty good, but the one I just saw was Insecticon. No, the toy where they're all insects. Sectors.
That's not a new one though.
But that was a really good one. I didn't know half of that shit, dude.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting. So.
Well, and I've always had a weird insect wars.
Really?
Yeah. So like they got they're I think it's listed next month. They got the Insect Wars comic coming out of what is it, Oni? Mm-hmm. Whoever's doing all the Nacelle-verse, they're going to do their little linking of all their toys.
Is that the one where they said it's like Game of Thrones type? There's a toy line that's coming out, and the writer described the story as you took these toys and you put them in a Game of Thrones type of like where they're backstabbing.
I haven't read that if that's the case. But the Nacelle-verse, I don't think so because the Nacelle-verse still tends to be kids skewing.
Okay.
Even though the only people who are going to be buying the shit are adults because unless they get some bookstore penetration, and they're all 80s properties. So like I guess Biker Mice from Mars is from the 90s. It's still shit that his kids don't know about, right?
Yeah. It's really weird because
So what was weird is they did like this one shot that was supposed to introduce shit, and I'm buying it as a lark. I figured this was going to be some crap, and it's actually kind of good. It wasn't great, but it was much better than I expected because I didn't expect much. And it's like, well, they got some really good artists on some of these. It's just probably, I don't give a shit about Robot Jocks or whatever that one toy line was. I don't give a fuck about Biker Mice from Mars. I thought they did a good job with the Great Kazoo in the one shot. I'm going to buy a book by him. Sectors, though, yeah, you probably got me to buy Sectors.
That would be kind of cool. That Visionaries.
Sectors comic book is weird because they had Steve Gerber writing it, but it never really clicked the way some of the other stuff that you did click. And it didn't have that feel like Bill Mantlo was so good at doing the toy stuff, like the Micronauts and shit. ROM, Bill Mantlo really seemed to have the imagination to make these toy lines, expand them and make them work. Where Gerber was trying to do something similar with Sectors, and it just didn't quite work. But Steve Geiger and Mark Texeira were the artists on those books. Fucking goodness. Like, I was like,
did he expand on the lore at all? Or?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think that's really the biggest problem.
I think the problem is that the writing just didn't click, and it was too wordy. It was like he was trying to write in Claremont mode, and they're just fatiguing to get through page by page. They're just boring to read. But I bought those when I was a kid. So I've got this podcast I do called Comic Reader Resume, where I go month to month talking about the comics I got that month, the music I listened to, the movie stuff. And so that made me go through those Sectors again, because I'm in 1986 now. And it's like, God, these look so fucking good. I don't want to read the fuckers. They all those word balloons. I remember how cheesy they were as a kid. And I don't have the attention span today that I had as a kid. Man, they're good looking books. And nobody remembers Steve Geiger, but he's inked by Michael Chen. And Michael Chen was like a proto Art Adams.
Oh, okay.
And so they look fantastic. Like, look up Sectors in there, man. It's good looking
So I
stuff.
thought we were going to record.
Don't read it. We are. We just keep not doing it. He's still fucking around looking for podcast shit, and we're not talking about
No, I'm done.
bloggers.
Oh, I went and got water and soda.
Okay.
I came up here to talking about comic books. Nobody's holding the microphone.
But I didn't know
Yeah, we
why.
probably should have just done a Secret Galaxy promotion.
My point is that, so he wrote an article.
Who he?
Dan Larson. Dan Larson wrote an article how the number one toy buyer right now is an adult.
Yeah.
Like the closest is a preschooler. So you're 9 to like 16, don't give a shit because they can't afford it right off the bat. 'Cause everything's fucking ridiculously expensive. And really, toys, like I was looking at Marvel Legends, they're not really made to play with. Like,
yeah, everything's gone McFarlane, and the kids are so digitally inclined anyway. Like they do some analog stuff. I know there are kids who like certain crafts and things where they're physically handling them, but action figure play like what we had, they just don't seem to be into it.
No,
They'd rather
like,
do the Pokemon cards. They'd rather work on different
their
things.
tablets
Coloring
or their
books
fucking.
sometimes they want something analog.
What is it? The fucking Switch or whatever. Like
Your kids like the toy, the cars, or they did like the cars and Legos.
Hot Wheels, the original toy. Yeah, sure.
Sure, but
Hot Wheels never go out of stock.
Hot Wheels is a brand. It's still a toy car. They like toy cars and logos. They don't care about action figures that much.
Yeah, I think action figures got replaced with video games.
Right.
yes.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the number one buyer are adults.
Yeah.
Like, but we're gonna die off eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Who's gonna pick these up? Because like they're ridiculous. The pricing. So I don't know if I said it to y'all. There was 3 figures that came out. I wanted the Joe Fix-It figure that came out. They wanted like $35 for it. You ain't gonna pay for that. They had the giant android, from the Avengers.
Mandroid,
I guess, which is the one where he has like all the
Super
different
Adaptoid.
Yeah, Super Adaptoid. There's a big green one, and then they have Thor.
I hate that character.
Huh?
But I hate that character.
Why?
Okay. He's just a broke ass Mazo, but with a way worse design.
Okay, well, hold on.
Because he's like the worst elements of a Mazo and Composite Superman, and I don't really love either one of those characters, so I really hate Super Adaptoid. And it's just such a DC kind of thing to have at Marvel. Like you want your Marvel characters to have clear parameters. Like that's what you love about Marvel is strength class, how strong are they, how fast are they, and they quantify that shit. That's what you like about Marvel. And then you have this guy, they can just do whatever the Avengers do, whichever Avengers lineup you want.
Well, okay, he's basically Mimic.
Yeah, and this costume sucks, and it's just a fucking everything's green.
Let me tell you something.
But
There's not a dumber DC comic style name that I've ever heard in my life than Composite Superman.
yeah, it's terrible. I hate
That is
Composite
the
Superman.
stupidest shit
Yeah.
I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Well, I just want to point out that like Shag and Rob Kelly did the Who's Who podcast for years, and it became a running joke that like they had such love for the DC universe, but they would always slag on Composite Superman, and of course people made it like a trademark of them to mock them to some degree, but they sort of embraced it as like it's kind of a Yankee Doodle thing where they don't actually like composite Superman, but now it's so associated with the podcast, they kind of go with it. But it's a stupid concept. It's ugly.
I mean, mascot is what you're looking
Yeah,
for. It became the mascot.
Basically.
So those came out, right? Wanted to buy them. They're all expensive. On Instagram, I follow this toy guy. He's like, hey guys, go to Ollie's and see what's there today. And he showed pictures. I'm like, no way. I go, sure enough, dude. Joe Fix is there. $20.
Yeah.
Picked it up. The Super Android one.
Yeah.
Picked it. I won't lie, dude. It's a fucking great toy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's a giant. It's Cap's body with fucking Hawkeye's eyes. But it's a great looking fucking toy. They just didn't have the Thor versus giant metal dude. That was the only one. But I was surprised.
The Destroyer?
Was it Destroyer? Yeah, Destroyer. I was shocked at how many Marvel Legends were at Ollie. Like nothing, dude. Just so you know, the Dungeons and Dragons, they had all of them there for like $10 each.
Oh yeah.
Like fucking, I was going to pick them up. I'm like, dude, there's Bobby. There's fucking the Cavalier, and I'm like, dude, that's kind of cool.
See, I see those at the comic shop for $25, and it's like, nah,
Dude,
not doing it.
Ollie's. I think they were like $5 because they were like even in the cheaper side.
It's funny because Ollie used to be somewhat exotic. They didn't have any here, and now they've really gotten an impact in Houston.
Dude, that's my second time going there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them around now. They're kind of on the periphery of town. There's not a lot of them in the middle of town.
Yeah.
They're all in like the rural suburbs of Houston.
But it's cool
you
that
can
they're
get to them.
liquidating because
Oh, you know what? There's one up for $45.
Yeah, no, that's the one I went to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's weird because those to pick up that stuff was really hard to find because that's like from Hasbro Plus type shit.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't go to you had to get it from a shop.
Do they get any of the McFarlane stuff?
Did they have any McFarlane? Actually, dude, you go to Walmart, dude, and fucking McFarlane. They're just that shit's peg warmers, dude. Like his shit does not. I don't understand how. I like McFarlane. His shit's not great, but I love the fact that he keeps it. The price is reasonable. The problem is like he has like 1,000 Superman, 1,000 Batman, 1,000 Flash.
It's the
500.
What about DC? Talking about the DC. That's what DC. That's all.
But now he's gonna start doing Marvel stuff too. Apparently, like he signed a contract. It's just like the big gripe with his stuff is just the paint jobs on them suck. Now when you see the art, like people repaint them, they look fantastic. Like I bought the Swamp Thing. I think regular price was like $40. I got it like $5 at a fucking Walmart was in their liquidation section, and it's just green, just all green. But Fryhole showed me this artist that went back and like they repainted it, and they painted the flowers and they the roots. They put coloring brownish on it. Dude, it looks beautiful. Dude, it looks like a piece of art. So I mean, I'm interested to some of the stuff. Like I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any of it.
Well, it's like okay.
The Ambush book. I won't lie. I saw it. It looks
and that's the thing too. Like I'm at a point now where every character that I really care about for the most part has already had an action figure, and at the peak of my buying action figures, I probably already bought at least one. Often it's one that I prefer over the newer versions anyway, and so I just don't need another one. So I'm not somebody who's like I have a bunch of Martian Manhunters because I bought out of loyalty to the character for a long time, and I finally came to my senses like why I'm loyal to a corporate character and I want to show stockholders that it's worth it to make more toys of this guy. No, calm down, stop. So I just don't. I find the one that I like and I buy it. But they've never done a Ambush Bug action figure. They've never done anything with Cheeks before, and so I will pay whatever they want to charge me, and I'm going to get that. As soon as I find one, I'm going to buy it. Right? They've got a San Diego exclusive Death Set.
Oh yes, dude.
Looks good.
So fucking
looks awesome.
Yeah. And see, at first it's like this is the same one that I've already got. Right? It's like because it's the same version of Death's Head with the same accessories. I'm like, well, why do I need that? Well, because the one that I have is this big, and that one's going to be like that big.
6
so and it is more detail. I had to go look though. Thankfully, I've got the figure. I've got a Hall of Justice Superpowers set, the play set, and so I broke it into 3 pieces because I got it secondhand. It was already busted up anyway, and so it's the background for 3 of my shelves with action figures. And so Death's Head's in with the Justice League characters because I don't have that many Marvel people. Just like Bishop's in there too, but he's just a little superpower sized guy, which is why he's with those characters. I want the one that can stand next to my minion because I think it was it? Where did I get the minion with you guys when we were going to one of the toy stores? Wasn't it? Or did Fryhole get me that one? Or did you get that one?
At Misfit Toys or something.
Is Misfit Toys? Okay, yeah. So my minion, admittedly a minion is supposed to be able to take Death's Head, but he's still so much physically larger that the proportions are wrong. So I want a Death's Head, original Death's Head that's proportionate with my
And then when you can only get it at the fucking San Diego Con?
It's a San Diego exclusive, yes. But that's after the weekend. That's going to be all over eBay. Now I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to want to pay what they're asking for it. But if I wait a little bit, I'll find one for a reasonable price, and I'll get that.
I think so. People tend to forget this shit. Hasbro's a company.
Yeah,
like they're into making money. They don't care about collectibles. They've destroyed the market 10 times over. Like at one time, me and Fryhole gave me. So they had a fucking like Space Venom. So it's like this cop-looking uniform, and the head was weird shaped. Was for the longest time super hard to find. Fryhole bought it because some local shop sold it because a kid stole the head, and well, incomplete, it's worthless. I just happened to find a guy that sold me the head for $5. Put it together. All of a sudden, it's an expensive toy again because it's so rare. What does fucking Hasbro do? Oh, we're gonna sell a 2-pack with the exact same fucking figure and put a different head to it. Price just dropped.
Right.
There's very few figures that now it's to the point like we were talking in Fryhole, we were talking about it. It's only worth what you're willing to pay, but Hasbro's gonna keep making them.
Yeah.
They'll make $10 and they don't care. That's their $10. So the market is dead now. Like for a long time, I don't remember if I told y'all guys, we went to a show and people were fucking slabbing Marvel Legends. I'm like, fuck you. Like, fuck you. No. That does not work. And none of that shit sold. This guy was trying to, it's a $60 figure because there's no
It's a
dents on the box.
9.9 CGC
Yeah, and I'm like,
Marvel
fuck
Legend.
you, dude. It's a fucking figure. So I really do want that Death's Head because that's actually one of my favorite characters as well.
Right. Oh yeah. I've got a weird love for that character. I collected him when he was coming out from Marvel UK.
I had when he was fucking traveling with Transformers.
When my brother, you can go back further than me. My brother, he was visiting relatives in London in '87 or so, and he brought me back a Dragon's Claws with the at the back of the book was the strip, 1-page strip that introduced Death's Head. And the reason why they made that strip was because they realized what they had with that character and they didn't want Hasbro to own the character, so they made sure that he appeared in a Marvel comic with Marvel copyright before he was in Transformers. So technically, we were about the same time.
Because I remember I bought.
But yeah, so and one of the first trade paperbacks I ever bought was the Life and Times of Death's Head in the early '90s. I bought relatively speaking, like I had the Fireside Captain America in '84, right? So I'd gotten trades over the years, but when you think cumulatively, I probably had less than a dozen trade paperbacks by the time I got to Death's Head. So it's still one of the earliest trades I ever had.
Was that the new Death's Head though?
No, the Life and Times of Death's Head was a collection of much of his UK solo series, and they did some like text material to cover the Doctor Who appearances and the Transformers appearances, but they didn't have the rights at that time, or they didn't want to have to pay out to those licensors. So they cut all that shit out when they did the collection, and so they add interstitial material to make up for the loss of those two franchises within the Death's Head trade paperback. So I think the trade had like maybe the first appearance of Dragon's Claws, and I don't even think they had that though. I think it was just mostly the Death's Head series with some material that referenced the stuff they didn't want to reprint. That was also my introduction to Iron Man 2020 because I'd seen him in the Amazing Spider-Man annual, but I didn't buy it. So the first time I actually read anything with Arnold Stark, and that annual is fucked up. Like, did you ever read that Amazing Spider-Man annual that introduced Arnold Stark?
Did we cover it on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Did we? Iron Man 2020?
I don't think so. I don't remember ever talking about it.
I don't
we were
remember us
going
talking
to?
about that.
Are you talking about the one that's computer generated?
No,
No,
that's Crash. Arnold's
Crash.
not in
Okay.
that.
So which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about it was one
It's
by Mark Beecham, and I don't remember who the writer was, and that's some fucked up shit, man.
I don't
Why?
remember. I've got it in a trade of 2020 appearances, but I don't know. If I've read it.
My comic reader resume, I was looking through the stuff from that month, and I just looked at that annual. I'd never read it, and I'm looking at it, it's like, this is fucked up. No wonder Arnold Stark is such a nut job. So I just didn't know enough about his
Right, what
background
happened?
to
Wait, you
realize-
got me confused.
No, I don't want to tell you. Maybe
You've piqued
I
my
think
interest.
we ought to read on that, sometime.
Mark Beecham and Black Costume Spider-Man, though.
Yeah, it was Black Costume Spider-Man. And of course, Beecham being Beecham, he's almost like an anti-Iron Man artist. Like, he looks nothing like anybody who would ever or should ever draw Iron Man. But since he's not drawing proper Iron Man, he's drawing a different guy. The fact that he's designed differently and he's drawn in a way that you wouldn't expect Iron Man to be drawn, it's kind of cool because, like, this isn't Tony. So why would it look
I
like
remember
Tony?
it's a great looking annual, but I don't remember the story. So.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the cover, obviously.
And then he fought Death's Head, and that's why I have an interest in it. But okay, so like they were showing like the Ragman action figure, right? And I've got a long-standing affection for Ragman as well because he was in one of the early Brave and the Bolds that I got. But I'm looking at the figure, the cowl is awesome because like they look like they got some kind of wireframe around the hood so that it actually points down toward his face and stuff. And they took patches out of the cape so that it looks all torn and stuff. And it's like, that's so cool. The figure itself, they just paint on all the patchwork. So there's no texture to it. They didn't do anything to the sculpt to make it look like it's different textures and stuff. And one of the things that was so cool about when Joe Cooper did the character, like, especially like the logo, is he actually went in there and he pasted in, or like he photocopied different fabric textures and mixed that into it so that you could see that he was a patchwork man. And the action figures, they just paint little squares on him and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think I can buy that action figure what they want to charge me for just because I think the cowl is cool. And they're doing Clock King, and that's a cool looking figure. And I don't think they've ever made a Clock King action figure before. But I'm not paying you $30 for Clock King with like 3 different handsets and shit. I don't care enough about Clock King to put that kind of money into it. So unless it's a death's head or an ambush bug with cheeks, I just can't bring myself to buy any of these action figures anymore.
The price
but even with Ragman would be one of those characters that I have enough affection for where I could buy one, but I don't think I'm going to buy that one because I'd literally be buying it for just the cowl. Sit in a nice shop on the cowl and not the figure.
There is a person out there that is going to buy that figure and will probably like design little square cloths and glue them on there or some shit, and he's going to fucking just alter the shit out of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. I bought the clay
But then
face.
he's going to want $100, so I'm not going to pay that either.
I mean, I bought the clay face because I thought the clay face looked great because the animated clay face is too expensive, and it just looks like a brown piece of shit. It's just all brown. But this guy goes in there and he puts some what's it called? Fry always tells me like they just kind of dip. They put a lot. They get like a black paint and they water it down, dry brush, and they just kind of dry brush it. And all of a sudden you're noticing, holy shit, there's like faces screaming on him, and like there's all this detail. But again, McFarlane's not known for paint jobs. It's one of the things where you buy his toy and you're gonna fucking just bash,
it's a
bash the shit out of it.
It's a template for you to make your own figure.
Pretty much.
That's better, yeah.
And so, but I'm telling you, dude, ambush bug, I could see all those like $10 in like 6 months easy. It happens all the time.
That's one of those deals where I'll pay full price for one, and then months down the line, I might go ahead and get one that I keep in the package just because.
I really want a Death's Head.
But the problem is, if it's at Ollie's, I'm never going to get that goddamn sticker off. So I don't know that I would ever buy one.
Actually,
from them.
those
like I buy one to take out, but I don't think I'm going to wait for it to hit Ollie's. I'll end up buying it full price so I can have it. It's just going to bother me if I see it somewhere. I'm not going to be able to turn it down unless it's like $60, some ridiculous.
I'm telling you, dude, the toy shows I go to, man, I would not be shocked because I've gone to one where this guy was selling McFarlane toys for $10 a pop. He had boxes of those, dude. That's where I got most of Starro together. Yeah. I was able to put most of Starro together. That looks dope. The toy shows, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if I think that ambush book looked pretty cool. It just looked different. It looked weird. I didn't see the Clock King one though.
Well, and besides cheeks, didn't he have some other accessory as well?
Who fucking knows, dude? Mm-hmm. It's just this one issue?
Yeah, in the far future world of 2020.
Oh, 2020? I missed this. 2020, that's so awesome, dude. You should have done a show on this one.
Well, so what happened was that this is a collection of, I think, this might be an original story, actually.
Yeah, I think it is. And then I have a collection somewhere else.
Yeah, because at first I thought it was maybe a collection of the Machine Man miniseries that he was featured in. That was inked it was like drawn by Herb Trimpe, but it was inked by Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild.
Machine and of course, Man. Barry Windsor Smith usually dabble in some Machine Man.
And it was an assimilation situation too. So he was in that annual, and then he was in the Machine Man miniseries, and then he kind of popped around, and this I think is from the 90s. I love these things because it's got that matte heavy stock, so it's very substantial feeling. Like you're not going to just accidentally tear these pages. You have to make a point of doing damage, and it holds up really well. And the coloring looks nice when it's eaten by the page that way. But obviously the years passed because he was created in 86. He was set in 2020. So now that they've caught up to him, I think Arno Stark is a contemporary character. And I think that he might be like the real son of Tony's parents because they made Tony be adopted secretly or some shit. And so they basically did the same thing that they did with Batman, where, he had they revealed that he had the one older brother that they had put in an asylum and shit. So they kind of did the same thing with Arnold Stark. So I think he's now like a brother or something too. Or no, he's like maybe Tony's his adopted brother, and it's Arno's parents that Tony was raised by. So that happened. And then they actually did a big crossover event. I think it was during the Dan Slott period, if I remember correctly.
We've talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah, and then they had a whole event. They did like several months of an event, and they had spin-offs and all kinds of shit. So I think they had a bunch of like hot pink fluorescent covers and shit like that too. So they made a big deal out of it at the time.
Because they finally caught up to 2020.
Right. Yeah.
Back to McFarlane toys. So do they sell does McFarlane sell like bodies in white?
Yeah, he sells artist proof ones.
No. I mean,
it's not like a template where you can build whatever you want to. But what he's talking about is they'll do ones where it's like animation style and shit, and so it's just a black and white with the detail. Like they'll put lines along the detail marks, but it's not
cell shading.
Right. So
like 4 people do buy 2 paint.
No, those are artist. No, so yeah, McFarlane has toys that come out and they're called artist proof. They're just straight gray toys.
Okay. I was gonna say if he hadn't tapped that market, he should probably tap. Well,
because I collect Warhammer 40K figures. So he came out with some, and people like just went fucking nuts with these things. Like the paint jobs on them are insane. They cut them up. They turn them into. There's these guys. There's one guy out of like I think he's in the Switzerland. He will go in there with like modeling clay and alter the figure to where it's not even close to the original, and it's something it's art. It's gorgeous. But yeah, he does artist proofs.
That's cool. That's cool.
I bought a couple of them like to kind of tinker with. You got to put a lot of primer and all kinds of shit on it. It takes a lot of work, yeah. But it's kind of, I mean, they're cool ideas. I think I first saw him with the 40K figures. Then he did a couple of Superman figures with it, and now every group comes up with one, so like you can make your own or your own color scheme. Because again, I think even he knows his paint jobs suck.
Yeah, but sometimes to be like to offer something like that, you're kind of admitting your paint sucks.
Yeah.
If some people are doing nothing but repainting your shit, but at least you could probably you could play it off as in, we know the sculpts are so good, that's why people want to paint them over and over again, because the figures themselves look so good. So let's offer it as, I don't know. It's also just extra money. So
and that's what I'm saying.
Make extra money. It's you're putting in less work. It's like being charged for no ice. It's like it's less work, but you could probably charge more for it.
Oh yeah,
because it's like you said.
And again, I do appreciate that he tries to keep the stuff reasonably priced, so you can buy McFarlane stuff. Where Marvel Legends, they're like $25 for a figure.
Yeah, and the bigger ones, you said, are $35-$40.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like that's shitty. Where McFarlane kind of stays within the $20 range. They're bigger figures, so they're not gonna fit in with your Marvel Legend type stuff. But still, they're good looking figures. Some of like Starro. What did you think of Starro?
I love Starro. You gave me a Starro. It's
yeah.
freaking awesome.
I think
and I love the
great.
little mini Starros that you put on people too. It's great.
So that stuff, like actually the Injustice gang, I liked all of them. I thought they looked great. They're all on my shelf. So that was Toy Talk with
Oh yeah, it's definitely Mark Beecham. Okay, so we'll figure something out with that at some point. I'm not sure what we'll do with it.
a new podcast called Toy Talk.
Toy Talk. Well, hopefully I got some of that off my Secret Galaxy.
Boytoys. Roll Spine's Boytoys.
Boytoys.
Yeah, vintage. Well, especially now the toy market is getting the toy market kind of, in my opinion, doing what the comic market did a bunch of years ago. The crash in the 90s, I think the same thing's coming for toys, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I do buy figures, and it's very irregular, it's very sporadic, but when I do buy them, it's always me digging through the $5 bin or less if possible. I got a bug up my butt because of the spawnometer. I kind of like getting some of the image figures, and since most of those were overproduced in the 90s and bought by people who didn't even like action figures and have been trying to sell them for a long time, I've been able to pick up most of them for like $10 or less, and so that's like one of the only things I'm kind of semi-actively collecting, but I'm not like hardcore about it or anything.
The price has gone up so just for a regular figure. I mean,
I can't do it. There's a bunch of the Marvel ones I would like to have, and some of the DC ones as well, if they were like reasonable. But I mean, they seem to start at like $20, and I'm just not doing that for an action figure. I
buy a lot of import action figures. I'm super into Godzilla and like Ultraman and Gundam, which I'm trying to tone back because they're so expensive compared to domestic. But I mean, the domestic figures are skyrocketing. I can remember the first couple series of Marvel Legends were $7.68 at Walmart, and now they're $24.99, and the new 30th anniversary ones are $30. And I pretty much have quit collecting Marvel Legends unless like you said, if I go to one of the chains around here and they have some loose figures and I find one, maybe. But especially with kids, $30 figure hurts.
I can't wrap my brain around it because I know that they're articulated, I know that they're sculpted, I appreciate the difficulty and I appreciate the artistry, but at the same time it's a hunk of fucking plastic, and it's actually gotten cheaper to manufacture over the years, especially the more complex plastic. It's easier to put this stuff together now than it used to be, and my number's like 10 to 15. Anything over like $15, unless it's something really extraordinary, I just can't justify it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot like comics.
The only domestic... Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm giving you the conversational right away.
Oh, okay. The only domestic figures to me that are kind of worth it, the NECA Predators for $30 are just packed with detail and accessories, and I mean, compared to a Marvel Legend is like piece of shit compared to it, and yet they're running about the same. And I know that I know when they first went up, Marvel Legends went from like $7 something to $10, and people said they were going to stop collecting them. And the toy company said petroleum was going up, so it was making it more expensive. But they just keep going up and up and up. So I don't know. Like, I'm glad my kids are kind of done. still collect some Transformers, but he never got into figures like the way I like, and my wallet is thankful for that. But I don't know how parents buy a lot of toys for their kids 30 by 5.
And that's the thing too, and maybe that's part of it, is the generation that's coming up, I don't think they're buying toys. I've talked about this with comic book too, where, you're not selling comic books to kids, you're selling it to increasingly aging, dudes for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, I still see toys at grocery stores and stuff like that, so I know some kids are still playing with toys, but the kids have gotten so much more into virtual media, online stuff, and my understanding is that the sales have gone down because that the kids are increasingly just not fooling with these physical, limited, tactile things. They're just hopping on their phones and playing games on that instead, or watching videos.
Yeah, well, that's what, when Toys R Us closed down, it was sad because I can remember as a kid going, and I liked when my kids were little taking them, and I liked just going in there and looking around, but it wasn't a surprise to me at all. And I'm actually surprised that they're still pumping out as many toys as they are, considering, for the most part, you go to an action figure aisle, you go to 7 different Walmarts, and at least 5 of the Walmart, it's going to be a bunch of dudes our age looking through the toys, unless they're really little. You aren't going to see some 11, 12-year-old looking at toys. They're going to be over by the video games. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think with everyone collecting, and I just think the bubble's going to break.
All right, let's look at a response from the 41st episode, Frank is Dead, Funeral for a Rolled Spine. We got notices from Dr. Ange, Chris Dunford, David A. Quinley II, 2, Dead and Kid wrote, rated X for gratuitous, see you directly in the feels. Heartening to hear friends celebrating friendship, great app, killer outro music too. Derek W.C., Ed Moore, Eugene R. Hendricks, voice actor, home studio, who added, is the moral of all these stories Frank should not be left on his own. Doug Adamson, who added, I've not listened to this yet, but I presume I can sue for false advertising. Captain Entropy added, you're a comic book fan, you expected him to stay dead? If we could sue for false advertising, Marvel and DC would have been out of business before I was born. DC Dave added, that's like comic book 101. Maybe if his name was Diablo Uncle Ben, you might have an argument, but even then you'd need a lawyer of Matt Murdock's caliber to have a chance, as if he would take the case. It went back and forth like that for a while, I'll spare you the rest. Illegal Machine wrote, memories, #poor. I was Joe was, Irredeemable Shag, Julia Raoul, Keith G. Baker, who added, I didn't know how much I needed this podcast until I was listening to it this morning whilst working on my porch. Thanks Diablo Frank and Mac and Fix It. King Dinosaur, Maxo, Patrick's Matrick, Relatively Geeky Podcast Network, Resurrections, a Warlock and Thanos Podcast, Richard Field, Superbound, and Talk Nerdy to Me.
You snap your fingers and you start turning that crane, and your monkey performs. Me and my little monkey hat. And you fling a few peanuts. You fling a few peanuts at me and maybe a half a banana, and I perform. Unlike Illegal Machine, I don't know what you fling at him to get him to perform.
I'm
Web.
grinding an organ. You'd know that if you weren't such a simple monkey. Not to be confused with spanking. I understand why you would make that natural confusion.
Spank the monkey.
Spank the monkey tonight.
That's the song, right?
No, it's Shock the Monkey.
Oh, my bad.
Peter Gabriel Shock the Monkey.
Some people call shock, others say spank. It's potato.
Oh shit, Illegal Machine has gone into his duffel bag and started whipping out some action figures.
Right.
Hulkbuster! Not part of the Secret
I'm
Wars.
going to actually reenact the movie here. Hulk smash. I am in my armored suit. 10 minutes.
Don't break Mr. Illegal Machine's toys, please.
Dude, no, you don't break them. It's plastic.
Is that fucking Bad Rock? Oh my god, we're gonna have Bad Rock join into the battle.
Dude, I never got this Hulk.
Let me see Bad Rock. I want to see fucking that. Yeah, I've probably seen those toys before. I want to see some Bad Rock.
Was this the movie or?
I don't know, but that is a fantastic, incredible Hulk.
Well, this, you know which one this is, right? The Bushima.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Savage Hulk?
So wait, was this part of a Youngblood line? Because this is it isn't falling to pieces in my hands like I was holding like butter in the summer sun.
You went old school.
Shit out.
You went old school.
That's a really nice little toy. I never realized that Lifeblood was involved in anything that weren't shit.
Youngbloods are really good.
You know what? I have these still boxed.
Which Spawn is that?
Oh,
shit.
Rip off Hulk Spawn.
Oh my god, this is so Joe Jusko's Hulk. This is so Joe Jusko's Hulk. Remember, like from the Marvel, the Masterpieces line, he did the first series,
You gotta take a picture of this and put it on the. Dude, this is so cool.
Joe Jusko did an awesome Hulk. Fuck, this is a cool looking toy. That facial sculpt is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that Hulk. I bought. That's one of the last ones.
You recognize that as Jusko, though, right?
Is it?
I thought that is so Joe Jusko. Look at that.
It reminds me of the Shadows of Light.
Well, hold on. I have to back that a little bit. Joe Jusko was hugely influenced by John Buscema. And some of that influence probably does come through, but obviously Sal Buscema was the one who was known to work
with that original artwork, and that's the face you see in the original artwork.
Like, you remember, like, Jusko used to do covers for, I think, like, oh my fucking god, is that a Visionary?
Dude, I just said they need to bring these motherfuckers back.
Man, they didn't work the first time. Why would you think they'd be any good now?
How does it work?
Was it Dane or whatever?
Oh, for Wetworks?
That's glow.
Wetworks. That's
how do you make the thing glow?
Let me see it. It doesn't glow. It's a hologram.
Oh, yeah, you do have 2 Iron Man.
Oh my god, these are terrible.
Also, the Hulkbuster armor's been around for a while.
There you go.
See,
it's a hologram, so you just shine in the light and you can see the hologram. It's so fucking terrible. Oh, it's recording.
Dude, how many toys do you have?
One of these gotta whip mine out. Is that one of the Violators?
Yeah.
I got a bunch of Predator in here.
Really? Let me check those out. I was like Predator. You are one.
That's not a. Is it a Violator?
Bitch. Yeah, it's one of the.
It's like a medieval one or something?
Oh, you weren't kidding, did you? Dude, did you just collect this shit or what?
I was a kid, motherfucker.
So this was 4 years ago then.
Broken. I love Predator as a kid, so.
Yeah, so did I. It's one of my favorite movies still. Oh, wait, you got Fang Fang Boom?
Bruh.
Let me see. Oh, dude, that was like one of the coolest ones.
Alien vs. Predator video game, Super Nintendo.
And it's original box.
That's not the original box. That's fucking like video store rental box.
I don't know who that is.
That was the type of McFarlane toy. That's when he was making off.
Yeah, I got a lot of McFarlane stuff.
This Iron Man is from Marvel Legends, right? Doesn't the mask come off? No, it doesn't. I'm about to get his head off. I better not do that.
There's this dude from Spawn 2 who I always thought looked badass.
Oh, yeah. No, this is that Stephen Platt Youngblood character, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
You see that, Loki? I think it's... Oh, shit. I like that Loki. That was cool. He's got the big horns. He's got a Simonson-esque. I think it was his
Spider Jerusalem.
Oh,
wow. Spider Jerusalem.
Now, you and your brother got me this Captain America figure, I want to say before a birthday. My shield has been freaking destroyed at this point, but at least the figure's held up well. I got another cat that was from the Marvel Legends line, I think, and he's fully...
Is this... Yeah, that was the early one.
That's from the Iron Man one.
Yeah, the early one.
Oh, yeah, that's the vampire from Wetworks.
So this was what I made. This was there was a cartoon where they were like gargoyles.
Yeah, called Gargoyles.
Was it called Gargoyles? So this was like the villain. So this was my Tony Stark toy.
So you had an actual
I had Tony because he had like a gargoyle armor he would put on. So you can see where I painted it red.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've got one of those too, I think, or I used to.
I used to remember seeing these in a dollar bin. The vampires.
Oh fuck! It's the original Toy Biz Captain America. This is a not good action figure, huh?
Mr. Sinister.
I liked Mr. Sinister back in the day. This is the big one, too. Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck is on this VHS?
Oh, his hand's fucking busted out. You had to put some effort into breaking that hand.
Is it busted up?
Oh, the hand is fucking gone.
Here's my Hank Pym. His head broke off.
Oh, God. Iron Man? Yeah. Oh, you made this yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
Out of what?
I have no fucking clue.
Oh, I bet that was Gideon. Remember the guy who fought X-Force?
Oh, no, his arms were supposed to come off, but that one is off permanently.
Apocalypse has a big old frown. Hey, nice leader. This is the McFarlane leader.
Yeah.
random ass Iron Man armors they started coming out with at the end of that.
That's Green Lantern armor.
Weird.
I really like his Frankenstein skull.
This is a really weird leader.
It's the big hard one.
Look how long his
See
legs are.
his hands still light up. Oh shit! Look at that. They still light up.
The man who his hands still line up. Nice.
Okay, man.
Oh, hey, Heroes Reborn Iron Man.
Yeah.
With his face ripped the fuck off.
The Bane.
Where's his faceplate? Oof, Bane.
So see, here's all the chromium armor pieces you could put on him.
This is from that weird Legends of the Dark Knight
You
series.
kept them
where
all?
they did- Shit, yeah, all that shit's vacuum. What do they call it? Vacuum pack or something where they could use like chrome quality. This is from that Legends of the Dark Knight line where they did like the more McFarlane-esque versions of the characters.
There's
The other fucking Predator. Got another kind of thing? Oh, this is medieval Spawn.
Thor.
Nice Thor. Well, maybe not by modern standards, but at the time it was pretty cool.
This was my Robocop guy, even though he wasn't Robocop. I just used him as Robocop. I don't know who the fuck he is.
Oof.
Oh shit!
There's some dollars for
Terrax, y'all!
Oh god, Terrax. Where's his rock?
And this is my Batman that everyone in this bag has kicked the shit out of this Batman at some point. That dude got his ass. He got his monkey ass whipped every single day. And I love this guy. I don't know who he was. He was my favorite toys.
Oh, that's one of the G.I. Joe Cobra soldiers.
Yeah. Bebop.
Oh, yeah. That's the early Joe series, too.
No, that was one of the later ones.
Yeah,
You and I were too old to be playing with this shit. That's why you don't know who the hell he is.
Fucking Gambit.
Hey, Gambit.
Well,
I like Gambit.
now you'll have a little one to pass all your treasures to.
Maybe. Oh shit, Rocksteady got fucked. Where's that Bebop?
Does that matter?
It's just a torso left.
Check out the Channing Tatum action.
Velociraptor? This guy was badass. His head's rubber, so you could suck up water.
Yeah.
Spray it like venom.
Yeah.
He was like one of the gorilla aliens. Predators whip this guy's monkey ass all the time.
What?
Gambit.
Yeah, but you're like, can you see? I'm like, yeah.
Let's see this.
Because I was trying to activate his
This
motion.
thing's dead. It's got a sound box in the back.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What is that?
It's a Cobra Commander. It's not Cobra Commander.
No, yeah, actually, this Cobra Commander. Yeah, that's when he wore the veil.
And this wasn't a Violator?
Yeah, that was a Violator. Oh, and this is one of the ones, what do they call these? The ones where they have the wire inside of them?
Stretchies?
No, they don't stretch. They're bendies. It's a Violator bendy.
I'm trying to see if
You
there's
can find that at your local sex shop.
super fucking obscure.
Oh, with a hinged jaw. Nice.
I remember seeing these. It's creepy as hell.
What the fuck was that, dude?
One of those,
Oh, what, the Muscle Man?
Muscle Man, oh yeah, I miss those.
I got a bunch of those in the queue.
You know they're somewhat collectible now. I was trying to buy some one day on eBay. They were like $80 for a
If you
bunch
want
of
to
them.
have a bunch of kids' toys, a fucking knife.
Well, you were a boy, so it kind of comes with that.
Lamborghini Countach. This is like the baddest ass bag of all time.
Remember, I used to have the little wrestling ring for these guys.
Patrick Ewing toys in them. This was an alien that like hit a little chest piece, and you hit it, he blew the piece.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the one the Colonial Marines could kill. Yeah.
Anyway, oh shit, here's another one.
That's probably not even legal anymore.
Yeah, I think that.
That's a actual switchblade.
I think
isn't it?
that is an actual switchblade, so I'm not going to touch it. And there's another one. Fuck, there's a bunch of knives in this bag.
Is this your brother's stuff?
No, that's all my shit. I don't know. I probably stole it from him.
I was apparently preparing to start stabbing people.
I think that's all the good shit.
You grew up in the 90s. You could still be planning to stab people without them arresting you. Or at least
Or you should
thinking-
get detention for it.
Yeah, you remember that shit? Or you maybe go to like in school like 2 week in service for
I
having a
love
knife
this
in
dude
school?
too. This guy was this is a Ninja Turtle.
Okay.
One of their guys. He's badass because he's supposed to like his mood changes. So like if you dip him in cold water, his chest would turn. This is probably some sort of whack chemical like a band that makes him change colors. But whenever he's hot, he turns like red. But whenever he's cold, he turns blue.
Apparently, Mac is going down memory lane.
Well,
Really
Hey
bad.
man, I spent a lot of time with these fucking
yeah.
man.
Well, not just that, but how many toys did you buy because they had a cool ass gimmick?
He-Man toys, man.
Exactly. You bought a ton of He-Man toys. They were stupid garbage toys because of that one cool thing they did. Like the Parasite guy who had the suction cup on his face and you could plug him into shit.
No, it was like mini faces.
Right, Manny faces, sure. I had Mechanic or somewhat, the Mechaneck, who you twist his waist and his neck would shoot up
Oh,
like a giraffe.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, I always like Lockjaw, because you can replace his gun arm.
right. Well, that his jaw was hinged.
You
Yeah.
lockjaw on my nuts.
I think I've still got a lockjaw without the bottom jaw.
I give her Lockjaw all the time.
Anyway, I forgot to show you guys my 2 bags.
Wait, don't forget these, man.
But out of your 2 bags of action figures, I saw one Secret Wars figure.
There's 2.
No,
Where's the other one? say that.
I told him he should take pictures of him and put them on.
His Loki is badass.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the face.
What? That's Loki though.
You have two near identical Secret Wars Iron Manses.
Yeah.
Up to his chest plate having been rubbed off on both of them, the paint job having rubbed off on them.
The dish. Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time believing these are actual Secret Wars figures because the sculpt's too nice. I gotta look at the date.
Oh, here comes Dr. Frank now.
Oh no! Please don't shatter my childhood.
He's gonna give him.
No.
What do you call it?
My childhood.
He's gonna give him a. What is that?
Proctology?
Proctology. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna test their.
Oh God, I love this one. I gotta put them in my office.
These are really well sculpted though. These look a lot better than most of the Secret Wars figures. They look so much better. I wasn't sure they were Secret Wars figures. I never bought an Iron Man as a kid. I never bought anything Iron Man as a kid,
Right.
figure wise.
Well, see, those were a lot of times those things were given to me. Like, hey, look, we saw this. We thought you liked it.
Yeah, it's really nice. And what's funny is the paint job is rolled up around his brow, but it makes him look cooler. It makes him look like all kind of like Kabuki Iron Man or something. Hey, here's your Iron Manses.
And don't forget his Bad Rock.
Oh, Bad Rock. No, he was Bad Rock. He's going home with me.
I think I still got his missiles too that shoot up. Oh, that's fucked up. That's broken. Oh, it's good stuff.
It's good that you can hold on to your shit like that, man.
You know, I still got
Some
a
of the
barrel
only
of shit.
I was able. This is gonna be the only shit I have left.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I have my action figures. You know why? Because nobody wanted your busted up action figures, so that you know that shit couldn't be sold to anybody. Therefore, you still have it in your possession.
Well, and the figures were small enough that when you moved, I could toss them in a bag and take them with me.
Yeah.
So you were a kid. That was the one thing you took with you.
Yeah. And which ones do you have again, Mr. Fixit?
I had Iron. I'm pretty sure I had the black suit Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man and Green Lantern. Those are the only.
Well, Green Lantern with superpowers.
Yeah, but those are the three toys I still have.
Okay. And you didn't have any other superpowers figures?
No.
You played with them back in the day, 84, 85?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much about them. I just remember, like I said, at that time, the only way I was familiar with DC Universe was the Super Friends,
Uh-huh.
the cartoon.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And Marvel was just like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and Incredible Hulk mostly.
Yeah, that was it. Though I remember later on, I still remember going to a video store and seeing the X-Men comic book movie and freaking out, going, they made a comic book movie? And watching it with Wolverine.
That Pride of the X-Men?
Yeah.
Where he's got the Australian accent?
Yeah. I remember I rented it like 10 times. I was just like amazed that I'd never seen it. And I was trying to find more. And every once in a while you would find like the collection, like Iron Man cartoon collections of the old.
Yeah, the ones that we took our name from.
Yeah.
In the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, so you would, every once in a while the video store would have those, but you'd have to go to the kids section, and then you'd have to wade through all that Casper the Ghost shit and all that other crap, and you'd find that one Marvel. I remember seeing the Thor one several times, the Fantastic Four several times, and of course, I gotta see if I can find that X-Men movie.
Was the G.I. Joe movie as good as I remember it being? The one where Cobra Commander was slowly turning into a snake the whole time?
Yeah,
and
they killed Duke.
And he and what's his name is blind. Is it Roadblock that's with him? And they're having because he's blind. Cobra Commander can see, but he's turning into the snake.
Yeah, and he's wrapped around him. Yeah. You do realize in that one, Duke gets poisoned, and he was supposed to die in the cartoon, but previously to that, the Transformer cartoon came out.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime got killed, and they got so many angry letters from parents because their kids were freaking the fuck out because Optimus died.
I freaked out when Optimus died.
So then, when G.I. Joe came in, they had to rewrite it real quick to where he was just sick. He didn't die. But their intention, I believe, was to... I remember seeing it on something.
Well, yeah, I mean, Serpentor turned his snake into like a harpoon and threw it at Duke. And
no, he threw it at another character, and Duke jumped in the way to protect him.
And he gets nailed in the chest.
I want to see this again. Oh, shit.
I have that.
And they actually had blood, too, didn't they?
Yeah,
that was pretty intense for a kid.
I rain projected the blood on it, whether it was there.
Well, now they did come back a few years ago with a G.I. Joe cartoon that Warren Ellis wrote, and that motherfucker's badass. Like, you got Snake Eyes, like, killing dudes with his blade.
So Warren Ellis wrote.
Yeah, dude, it's dark, but it's pretty good.
The thing is, though, is when the G.I. Joe cartoon came out in the 80s, and you actually saw Duke get stabbed with a snake, not unlike the guy from Conan when he killed Conan's girlfriend. Remember? Because didn't he do the same thing?
No, he shot an arrow. He got a snake and he straightened it out.
And
he
shot an arrow.
And
James Earl Jones.
And he struck her. Of course, they pulled the snake out of her and she died.
Yeah. So basically,
after she resurrected Arnold.
But you didn't expect that sort of thing to happen in your cartoons. That was your stuff. The grown-up stuff, that stuff can happen, but it wasn't supposed to happen in your entertainment.
As a kid, that the impression of Cobra Commander and Roadblock having that Roadblock was blind and couldn't see, and he had to depend on Cobra Commander, but Cobra Commander had to depend on him because he was turning into this fucking snake. That shit was like mind blowing for a kid. I'm like, damn, that's what.
Do you remember the land they came from?
No, I don't remember any. I knew that was their Their scream.
Well, and then of course in the cartoon, it turns out that Cobra Commander actually comes from Cobra La, and that's why he started Cobra in our world.
Oh.
Yeah, I hated all the Cobra Law retcon shit. It was better when they were a terrorist organization before it became full on fantasy shit.
Yeah, it kind of got weird. It got weird.
Serpentor, for me, Serpentor was really the turning point of G.I. Joe, going from being cool to being really was. And Serpentor was a cool idea, but it's another one of those situations where Serpentor was built up to be such a big deal, and he never could come in at the weight class they were trying to project him as being. So it was always like this constant source of disappointment. And then once you bring all the Cobra Law shit,
it was kind of cool because he's such an arrogant asshole.
Well, yeah, he was.
Everybody else was failing but him. And
well, remember he was genetically created from
by Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Everybody's genetic. Dude, they did like a mini series where they were going around collecting the DNA of all these villains, which was kind of creepy because you don't know what DNA they really got. I mean,
Nope, don't do that.
Just saying.
Don't do that.
So it was that was a strange one. And then it was Dr. Mindbender who created him. Yes, it's sad.
And Dr. Mindbender was also part of the jumping of the shark period because that man did not dress appropriately for a G.I. Joe villain.
My brain's not working. Who's the bald, chrome-headed guy?
That's the bald guy with the monocle and the pink.
Destro.
Destro.
Destro was chrome-headed one.
Oh, you mean literally chrome-headed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Destro was fucking
was a dude that was shirtless with a purple cape kind of thing and a monocle and a creepy mustache.
Yeah, he sucked.
Yeah, he was weird.
Yeah. And that's where they also brought in the guy who dressed as a falcon and flew around. That crazy guy.
The Native American Indian character?
No, not that guy. The guy who actually dressed up like a falcon and flew at people. He was like a psycho guy who just like...
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I had that action figure. It was a badass action figure, but he was a superhero character in G.I. Joe, and it was just ridiculous.
The one that I really liked was Crocmaster.
Crocmaster was fucking cool.
Yeah,
dude, he had crocodiles on fucking leashes.
Whenever I played with him, you could breathe underwater, you could walk through gas, and he was the only one with plated armor.
Yeah, he was a dreadnought, wasn't he?
You couldn't get through that armor.
Huh? He was a dreadnought, wasn't he?
Well,
he was like a latter-day dreadnought?
Like I told you.
Like Road Pig and those later dreadnoughts?
Roadhog, right?
No, maybe it was Roadhog, yeah. But he's the guy who had
he looked like Elvis.
Hammers.
He looked like Elvis.
Yes, he had hammers.
No, the fat guy with the white flat top, and I think he had like a red string through it, and he had cinder block hammers that he slammed.
Wasn't there a dreadnought?
Oh, that was such a badass toy also.
Wasn't there a dreadnought that looked like Elvis?
I don't remember one that looked like Elvis.
I think it was because he was always hitting on the redhead chick that was a dreadnought.
Zarana?
Yeah, he was always hitting on her, and she would always knock him down. But I remember I told you recently that I went back and I read a bunch of Christo Gage G.I. Joe comics. Like he did 3 or 4 trades.
Yeah.
And he did like Crocmaster story, Mindbender story, but he did it in a way that it was kind of cool because they're a cult. And Crocmaster's just like an abused kid that's just fucking psycho. It was cool. So to kind of revisit it's kind of cool. If you get a chance, those are pretty cool books.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe comics before that.
Here's the thing. I don't want to read G.I. Joe comic books as an adult. It's like there's a point where there's certain stuff that I loved as a kid and I just cut off from it and walked away from it. And I don't feel the desire to revisit it.
After I read that Paul Jenkins Cobra Commander, one issue.
Yeah.
I read it because I like Paul Jenkins. I think that book is fantastic. That's the only reason I went back to try to reread some of the stuff. Because that was that one book. I told you, if you read it, you would join Cobra.